Hello everyone, welcome to the course of Fundamentals of IoT, in short FIOT. In today's class, we are going to learn about actually what is an IoT device, and we are also going to see what are the basic building blocks of an IoT device. In the unit 1, we have already come across this particular IoT devices and its blocks, okay? So this particular unit, in the third unit, we need to have an introduction with respect to Raspberry Pi, okay? So before getting into the introduction of Raspberry Pi, okay, again, let's brush up what are these IoT devices and what are the building blocks of IoT device. How these building blocks are related to Raspberry Pi, we are going to see in the coming classes, okay? So as described earlier, a thing in the Internet of Things can be any object that has an unique identifier which can receive or transmit data or send data, okay, over a network, okay? So let us take few examples like a smartphone, smart TV, or a computer, refrigerator, car, etc. And lots of devices or lots of machineries are there which transmit and receive data over a particular network, okay? Not only that, using an internet, okay, these devices, whenever they are connected to an internet, they can do much more or many more operations, where we are considering it as Internet of Things, the things which are connected over an internet for a particular purpose, like sending or receiving the data. Here, the main purpose over a network can be like information, gathering the information collected from the sensors, storing those information through storage devices or the servers, and we can also control a particular actuators, motors, or some sort of displays, okay, where we can consider it as actuators, okay? So for an IoT device, a main brain should be there. That brain will be connected to several sensors, where sensors are considered as an input, and based on the sensors data, it will be that brain, we can call it as a controller or a processor, will be connected over a network, due to which we can gather the information, store the information, and using that information, we can also make the actuators to work, okay? So this actuation is nothing but the physical entities, or we can remotely operate the surrounding environment, okay? For example, let's take an example. A home automation. We might have already come across these kind of home automations, right? Where devices will be remotely monitoring and also controlling the appliances can be done, like light, fan, taps, okay, room temperatures, etc. Okay. So suppose considering an industrial machine, okay, every time the industrial machine is switched on and switched on, switched off, we can also gather the information regarding that particular machine, which can be monitored that particular data over a server, okay? Now, let's consider a car, okay? A car which is equipped with several sensors. It can be a petrol sensor, air pressure sensor, or the airbag sensor, or any information related to the car, okay? So that can be connected over through a cloud-based service where every information will be stored there, okay? Not only that, a wireless enabled wearable devices. It can be a smartwatch, okay, or it can be some sort of medical devices connected to the body, okay? All these data can be gathered using several sensors and connected over through a controller or processor through an internet, and the data can be stored in a cloud-based services, okay? This is the main advantage of an IoT devices, okay? So using these IoT devices, we can do or design any application according to the requirements, okay? So for an IoT device, there are some basic building blocks. We have already seen this in the unit 1 also. I'm again showing you the overview of the basic building blocks, okay? Let's see what it is and how the Raspberry Pi, using Raspberry Pi, how we are going to do this kind of services we are going to see in the future videos, okay? So an IoT device majorly consists of number of modules based on functional attributes such as sensing, actuation, communication, analysis, and processing, okay? So sensing means with the help of sensors connected to a particular controller or processor, or the brain of that application. Okay, the data can be gathered. Okay, it can be like sensors can take the parameters like temperature, humidity, light intensity, etc., and the data will be stored in several. And the actuation is nothing but the output devices. Okay, so it can be a motor, it can be a display. Suppose for an example, a moisture sensor is placed in the soil, let us say. If the moisture or the sand land is dry, okay, automatically based on the sensor data, there will be a motor which is switched on, which makes the water to get into that or make the land wet. Okay, that is how the actuation works. Actuation is nothing but the output devices which helps the IoT devices to make turn on and off that based on the commands given. Next one, communication. Communication here plays a major role. Okay, suppose there are multiple devices are connected together. Okay, all the devices need to work accordingly and work collectively. So based on every device need to collect the data, and the data should be stored in the clouds or servers. And based on that, the decisions need to be taken. And based on that, all the nodes or the modules or the applications need to work accordingly. Okay, so for this, we also need to do analysis as well as processing. So analysis and processing modules are responsible for making or sense of the collected data. Okay, so in order to do all these things, Raspberry Pi, a small mini single board computer, which is called as Raspberry Pi. What is Raspberry Pi? What does it contains? I will be explaining in the coming videos. Okay, or this Raspberry Pi, which is called as a small single board mini computer, okay, can perform exactly what we are talking about. Okay, so it can do sensing work with the help of sensors. It can do processing. It can do actuation work whenever the actuators are interfaced to it, and it can also connect to various network over an internet. Analysis processing can also be done. Okay, so here Raspberry Pi is one of the best advisable device after the Arduino. Okay, so which can be used for these IoT kind of devices. Not only Raspberry Pi, we have ESP8266 Node MCU, Arduino with inbuilt Wi-Fi and everything. So where Raspberry Pi will be having much more efficient and high performance capability in order to handle all this IoT data or devices. Okay, so let's see the basic block diagram. Okay, so these are the basic block diagram of an IoT device, where it will be having connectivity like an USB host, like USB socket and the Ethernet socket, and it also will be having a processor, CPU. Okay, in order to, whenever the input is given, it need to processor or execute the instructions, right? According to that, the output will be given. It also has an GPU, graphical user interface, or graphical processing unit. Okay, and it also has several peripherals like audio and video, like HDMI, high definition multimedia interface. Okay, 3.5 mm audio jack. Okay, and RCA, Radio Corporation of America, RCA video ports, and all will be there. All these are connected to the interfaces also. It also has UART, okay, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter Port, SPI, Serial Peripheral Interface, I2C, Inter-Integrated Circuit, CAN, Control Area Network. Okay, all these can be interfaced to that particular board. Not only that, it also has a storage interfaces like SD card, Secure Digital, like MMC, Microsoft Management Console, okay, and SDIO, Secure Digital Input Output interfaces with respect to storage is there. Okay, and apart from that, it also has memory interfaces, NAND, NOR, as well as DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, RAM and ROM memory interfaces are also included in a particular IoT device. All these features we can see in a Raspberry Pi board. Okay, so once any hardware which satisfies all these operations can be considered as a good IoT device, or good device where IoT devices can be applied. Okay, or we can develop IoT devices with that particular hardware. So Raspberry Pi is considered as one of the best suitable IoT device for this, as it has got all these kind of interfaces. Okay.